These boys have to qualify.
Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve, and we are talking about the Brooklyn Nets, who did qualify. I'm sorry, my bad. The favored to win the title, Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
Finally going to see the big three. I'm putting some respect on it. It's what you always say. Putting some respect on it, Brandon. Finally going to see the big three together again. They've only played 8 games as a unit this season, but that hasn't changed the weight of the championship expectations.
Doesn't matter.
Word, expectations. Kevin Durant was asked about that yesterday. Listen to this.
Us players don't think about stuff like that. You know, we know that's y'all job and that's how y'all view stuff, but we know how tough it is to play this game every day, and we in here every day. So we got a different vantage point to y'all. So I understand with the stuff on paper and how teams look and, you know, how accomplished the players on our teams are. But for us, we respect the game and our opponents too much to come in and say, look, we expected to win this. Nah, we coming out there and understand that we can't be beat if we don't lock in.
All right, Brandon, I'll start with you. Is it title or bust for the Brooklyn Nets?
Oh, bust for sure. 100% bust. I mean, let's go back to, November when James Harden was in Houston and he's talking about, hey, listen, I want out and I want to go to Brooklyn. He said where he wanted to go, and he made that happen, Nick. You told me, it would never happen. It would never happen. Well, it happened. And then you have Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, one of the most prolific scorers in the NBA. And KD, he's number 2 as far as behind LeBron James when it comes to efficiency and being the best and being able to do it all. Now, not the most dominant, because you guys know who I have as the most dominant NBA player because he's 7 foot and he can do a lot of things. That's Joel Embiid, but we'll put that out there. But look, it is bust. Now, I know everybody's talking about chemistry, continuity. They only play 8 games. We hear all of that. But at the end of the day, this is basketball. And we're talking about modern NBA. And that's what it's about, getting buckets. And there's nobody better than these 3. You can arguably say that they have the best scorers in the NBA. So, yes, it's bust. I know Nick want to talk about defense all he wants. But your defense better be able to hold these guys to under 120 because that's what they bring to the table. We're talking about 25 points a night between the 3. That's a lot of defense that you need to have to be able to stop them. So absolutely, it's bust if they don't get it done.
So I'm actually not going to be quite as hard on the Nets as Brandon. I think getting to the finals will make this season at the very least a push. I think if they get to the finals and lose to the GOAT, that happens. It happened to a 73-win team. It's happened
Jordan's
to a team
coming back?
in San Antonio with 4 Hall of Famers. Stop it. Don't discredit yourself. It happened to a team in Oklahoma City with 3 MVPs. Like a lot of all-time great teams get to the finals and get dispatched by LeBron. So I think if they get to the finals, it is a success. I think if they come up short of the finals, it is definitely a bust. But Wilds, I'm going to put your NBA long-term programming hat on for a moment. I would argue it is far better for the league over the next, call it 3 seasons, if the Nets do not win the title. So think of the 2 most recent super teams prior to Brooklyn. The one with LeBron in Miami and when KD went to the Warriors. Which was more interesting, intriguing, and had more drama? Without a shadow of a doubt, Miami's LeBron team. Why? Because they lost. Because it didn't feel like it felt like it was going to be a given when they did not 6, not 7, not 8. But once LeBron had his bad moments and they lose in year 1, then all of a sudden, year 2 is wildly exciting because if they lose again, it's a total failure. That leads to LeBron's Game 6 in Boston. Then the next year, it's like, okay, you won 1 title, you promised multiple, now you've got to at least repeat, and it leads to the Ray Allen shot and then LeBron's 37 points in Game 7. Year 3, can you three-peat? No, you can't. They break it up. The Warriors, they roll through everyone year 1, and then year 2, the 2018 season, it felt like all we were talking about was free agency. Like, it's like the season didn't matter. So if you're the league, if you're a fan of a team, if you're a fan of Toronto, and you're like, my team's out of it anyway, I feel like it's better for the Nets to have a real piece of adversity this season because it makes the upcoming season so much more interesting. Because if I'm wrong about them and they just crush everyone, they just win these playoff games, defense don't matter, 135, 120 on the strength of KD, Harden, and Kyrie, all of a sudden you're like, well, what's gonna, like, unless Steph does leave the Warriors and joins the Lakers, like, how's anyone gonna beat them? So I think it's better for the league if they don't win the championship.
It's definitely better for the league if they don't win. Definitely better. And although it would be great to get them to the finals, so you had the best scenario is Lakers-Nets in the finals. But the biggest challenge the league has is trying to make the regular season feel like it has urgency. And that's why we see things like the play-in game, like it felt urgent. You know, the golden goose is the NFL, that every game feels urgent. So the idea that this season has been so weird, that you saw guys miss so many games, and if it just goes chalk of the best teams, not the seeding, that the Lakers, you know, miss a ton of games and get to the finals, and that the Nets only play 8 games and get to the finals, it starts to be very odd on like, hey, we got to take the regular season seriously. The regular season matters. But Nick, to your other point, someone is going to have that storyline. It's either going to be Joel and Ben being like, oh, we thought this was our time and we failed again. It's either going to be Giannis, we thought this was, we made it, or it's going to be the big three in Brooklyn. So we're going to get the storyline of a superstar team thought they had enough and they came up short either way. And one of those teams is going to have to make a major move in the offseason because I don't think they can run it back again, Brandon.
Yeah, but wow, it's not the same impact though. You know, I get what you're saying, but you know, these three together, I mean, that's the storyline. So what you guys are saying, it will make it more interesting next year. But also the flip side of it, if those boys go out and they run the playoffs and they win, that's all we're going to be talking about next year is who's going to beat them. So it's also going to be good for the league if they go out there and win, and they have the opportunity to do that. Because Jenna, you talked about it earlier. What? They only play 8 games together? We really don't even know what we're going to see. We know we're going to see a lot of offense, but is it really going to work? Defensively, that's the question too. Are they going to be able to get some stops? Right. Are they going to be able to guard Joel Embiid? You know, so like this is going to be interesting for the league, whichever way it goes.
Brandon, I'm your friend. I'm going to tell you, I think your jersey's on backwards. Let's play a quick take your pick before we go. Warriors, Grizzlies. Tonight in the play-in, it's for the 8th seed out west. Brandon, back to you, buddy. Who wins, Grizzlies or Warriors? Take your pick.
Okay, so I'm going for the underdogs. Would I have the Heat over the Bucks? Who else did I pick, Nick? I picked another one, but I'm going to go here because I forgot my other one. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies.
Suns over the
John
Lakers.
Morant's come down the train, so I'm going there we go. Suns over the Lakers. There we go. Grizzlies.
Yeah. I think it's Grizzlies, Nick. I think a championship team like this, like the Warriors, know they don't have enough to compete, and they're going to take their foot off the gas and lose tonight.
I understand all that, and I don't think the Warriors should have to beat this team twice. They already beat them on Sunday. But the way they guarded John Morant this past Sunday, they're going to do it again. Memphis' offense going to grind to a halt. Warriors win in a low-scoring game, Jenna.
I'm with you, Nick. Have a great weekend, everyone.